Hi, Tammy. Good morning. I'm showing off my beautiful thank you card that I got from you. Did not realize how gorgeous this was until I got it. And now I really want to order it. Good morning, everyone. Slide this over. How's everybody doing today? Hi, Stephanie, Shannon. Good morning, Angela. Hi, Donna. How are you? So let me tell you, I kind of hit a wall today. I was really stretching for something to make. I had like a whole other thing written up on my little blurb today welcoming you guys because I really didn't know what I wanted to make. Yeah, man. So if you guys haven't seen this, I haven't seen this in person because I didn't order this. This rose gold, this is in that Everything is Rosy kit, is so, oh my gosh, so pretty. Like when I pull this out of the envelope, this is a thank you card because I won something from Tammy for our group. And I was like, wow, this is, I almost thought to myself, I might have to take this apart and reuse it. Isn't that horrible? But they have rose gold foil paper and rose gold, the shimmer paint. And then the DSP has rose gold in it, and it comes with its own stamp set. So I don't know. I might end up having to purchase that before it's gone. It only lasts through the 31st, so we'll see. But I wanted to share this too with you guys because I knew this was a little hard to see. This was my blog hop card from the other day. And what I did was for the, I believe it's well written is the dies. And I did 3 of them together, so you can see that's got a lot of depth to it there. But isn't this a cool color combination? I love this. I thought it was so neat. And it was like a Happy Father's Day, like an outside the box card. And what I did was I made a little mask. So I'll show you guys this. I made a mask by cutting out the stitched rectangles. And I didn't line them up like exactly, so I kind of trimmed it down a little bit. But then I just sponged the color on. And then another thing that you may or may not be able to see, but I did, of course, because I am an over spritzer now. But I spritzed this with shimmer paint, and I spritzed the background here with shimmer paint because I love shimmer paint. Oh my gosh! So if you guys haven't done this before, you can get this spritzer, Stampin' Spritzer, and you put alcohol in it, and then you put some of the stuff in there. And when you fill it up, you can't see it probably on here, but it like swirls. It's really shimmery. So this is the frost white, and then this one would be the champagne, and I have another one that has the bright copper in it. Those I believe are still available on the clearance rack. You didn't get notified. Well, you know what, you might have to go. I have to watch PT. Hey girl, I understand, you can come back. You might have to go back in and change your notifications because sometimes Facebook is just, I don't know, it does its own thing. But the other thing I wanted to share with you, this, someone from my card class made, her name is Jessica. She is extremely talented, and her son, I believe, let me check the back. He graduated from college, he turned 21, and he was leaving for the Navy. So she made this card for his invitation. Now this, we will have something like this in the new catalog. This is like a sparkly black, embossing powder. So you probably could also get this effect currently if you don't have it yet, which I don't have it either, by mixing black and like some iridescent or some shimmer in there. But is this not the coolest card? And then what she did with the background was she did this with the alcohol markers. And then she did the star she just stamped on there. She did a bleach resist. So drink, hey, you know what? That's a whole different show, Tammy. Rubbing alcohol versus drinking alcohol. I would never waste Jack Daniels that way. Plus, it's not clear anyway. But she did this with an alcohol resist. Isn't that awesome? I thought this was such a cool card, so I asked her if I could share this. So I thought it was really, really neat. So this stamp set is going to be going away. So if you haven't gotten this, make sure this is on your list. This is a really nice one. So I thought it was really nice with the layers and everything. So what we were going to do today, I kind of had like an up in the air moment where I was like, I didn't know what I was going to do. We could finish something, we could start something, but I thought just to make it easy on myself, and then maybe next week we'll do something super exciting, is we can make the 2 cards that we made on Friday at our stamp club. So these are 2 of the cards that we created. This one has new designer. You know what the crazy part is? Let me just show you this real quick. Every single card, and I've never done this, that I made had DSP. on it. So these are the 4 cards that we made. You guys probably remember this was from my Mother's Day card. From the Mother's Day blog hop, I should say. But I have never had a card where every single one used DSP. But it did make things really easy. So it was kind of nice if you guys maybe get to the point where you're like, you don't know what to do with your DSP. Certainly make some gorgeous cards. But these are the cards that we created. And the other thing that's pretty neat is if you wanted to, like if you were really trying to save your DSP, this piece that's underneath, you could actually even cut out the underneath part and use it for something different and then just glue the frame on. So just an idea, but we did this one with watercolor. But these two, I kind of got this idea out of an idea in the catalog, but I sort of made it my own. And I did this little fun fold here where I just trimmed off a 1/2 inch for this card. So we'll do this one, which was super easy. So this was the simple stamping card. And then this one was the fun fold card. And a lot of times when I am kind of strained for ideas, I'll ask my friend Rhonda, like, what do you want to make? So she came up with this, and they actually use this with the, oh my goodness, I can't remember it. Whatever the DSP we have that uses the stitching. So they did a card like that. But I didn't have enough pieces of the one side, so I instead used the part that comes from the starts with art bundle. So we're gonna make these 2 cards today. So I have kits already made. There's one and the other. And then what I'm gonna do is I do have to just grab the stamp sets, and then we will work on something new because next week, so a week from yesterday actually, is when the new catalog goes live. So that is pretty exciting. So I did use pretty much the Magnolia stamp set for this one because I kind of just fooled around with it a little bit, and then I used the It Starts With Art for that one. So I think they're super pretty. Yeah, you know, I agree with you with the no military stamps in the new catalog because I think we do need something. So we're going to have to figure out like something else to do with it. Although I will say, I believe, I could be wrong, but I think Tina Wardell shared an awesome card that she made for Memorial Day. And she used the masks. So she used the little, like the little starry masks, and then she used the brick and she made a flag out of it. So if you haven't checked it out, I don't know what her blog is. I can't think of it off the top of my head. If anybody knows, please feel free to share it. But it was an awesome card. All right. Just give me 1 sec. I just have to grab my stamps. Magnolia. I even put them in order and I still can't find them. There it is. It's G. I organized all my stamps. Apparently alphabetical order doesn't work very well for me because I couldn't find this. I was looking for Magnolia, not Good Morning. Jeez a whiz. All right, and then the other one is the art. Oh. And I just need my punch. Sorry about that. That's what happens when you're super prepared. So I did use the punch for this little label here. So I would love for you guys to spread the love of this video. So be sure you do that, and I will pick a name and I will send out. I have a couple of these card kits. I will send one out as a prize. Doesn't matter what you comment. You don't have to say that S word. You can say whatever it is that you like. So I did this one with very tone on tone. So I did soft seafoam. But then for the greeting stamp, I used Garden Green. And then this one, I kind of picked a bunch of different stuff. So we'll do this one second. We'll do the simple one first. So what I have are just a few pieces of cardstock. So again, this is almost a full sheet. I just cut off a 1/2 inch. So this would be 5.5 by 8.5, and you're going to score it at 4 1/4. And then what you can do is you could do it 5.5 by 4 1/4 instead. That way you don't save that piece, or you can trim it off, or you could also score it and like fold it as a flat back. Just kind of depends, but I just want to look at this because for some reason I feel like when I did this one, it doesn't look square. Well, I guess it is, but I'm going to just trim off just a hair because for some reason to me, it looks like there's something on here that's just a little bit crooked. So, who knows? All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to just fold this on the score line, just like so. Yeah, I think somewhere along here, something is, I must have like, this one must have been one that I was speed cutting. Because my little edge here is off just a smidge. But that's okay. We're not going to fool with that now. So I have a piece of designer series paper, and I do apologize because I cut these the week before last, so I don't know what they measure. This one measures, I believe, is 2 3/4 by, should be, and I had to trim that up a little bit, so it should be 5 1/2, but I'm going to trim this off just a smidge since I trimmed that one off a smidge. So we're going to go with, just take off a 1/16 of an inch now. Let's see if this works. Just a teeny bit more. I'm going to take off just one more 1/16. So I end up taking off just 1/8 of an inch. But again, yours isn't going to be that way. Yours is going to be 5 1/2. So it'll be just like that. And let me also take a peek at the inside. Funny story about the inside. I actually stamped the inside of this card a little bit different. And I did not like what it looked like. So this should be 4 by 5 1/4. Yeah, that's, I'm gonna take off just a little bit since I trimmed that down a smidge. I stamped this originally, and you can see just this little teeny flap here. I actually stamped the magnolia and I colored it in, and I like got really fancy with it and I colored it in, and then by the time I finished it, I was completely unhappy with what I did. So then I just put this panel in and covered it up, and I thought, well, we'll just go with that because I think it'll look nicer that way. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab this large little flourish here, which to me looks a little bit like fallopian tubes. I know, something is wrong with me. I completely agree. So we're going to stamp this in the soft sea foam. Fallopian. Yeah, oh, look, I got 2 laughs out of that one. There you go. Somebody thought that was funny because it's true, isn't it? All right, so what I did was I kind of just lined this up like this, and then I just eyeballed, and I just put one on each side. So we'll just do it just like that. I believe I put it so this little bump was sticking out. Let's see if that's mostly centered. It's funny because when you just do something, like you're just making something, and then when you're trying to line it up, sometimes it doesn't work out exactly like you think it's going to. So we have that, and then I'm going to also put one on the top, and then we can just add a sentiment on the inside. So this card is super, super duper easy, and I just want to grab this because gosh, I love my grandfather and I miss him dearly, but this table sometimes has little bumps in it that makes things not stamp as I want them to. Put that right there. Okay. And remember, I always stamp these before, because worst case scenario, you can always flip it over if you screw it up. So let's put this on the side, and then I'm going to add my sentiment. So instead, I'm going to do this one with thanks. And then I'm going to do the different sentiment, the one that says, not only for what you did, for being someone so special. So I'm going to put that one on instead. And I'm going to just peel this off in case I need it. And this one I'm going to stamp in Garden Green. A deer rack. It does look like a deer rack. Hey, good idea for Christmas there, Janet. We need to have someone who's going to be our secretary and record all these good ideas for us. And then when we say, what did we buy that for again? Then they can remind us. Oh, things are falling. All right, so there's that. And then I have one. Nope, that's not it. Should have one other little piece of white paper around here somewhere. Where did it go? Oh, jeepers. Hold on. Lost my other piece of paper. That's okay. I'm going to just grab a scrap. Look at me frantically looking. Yep. Still not here. So I'm going to change this to thanks. And then I'm going to stamp that and punch it. All right. So since I actually got this correct here with the way I stamped this, I will go ahead and clean off my stamps. I'm going to leave this here for a second. And it's funny, when I rinsed out my chamois today, I must have been really heavily focused on the green inks because all the stuff that came out was green into the sink. All right, so put that back, and then let me just grab a little scrap. There we go. Hopefully that one will fit. So I noticed, has anyone else noticed that I think we can do our popularity contest is over thus far, that it looks like Fresh Fig and Lemon Lime Twist were like the two most sought after colors in the retirement list, because they are completely sold out of paper, of ink refills, of any paper that had them in the paper pack. So hopefully maybe one day Fresh Fig and Lemon Lime Twist will return, since they were so popular. I think that happened a while back with obviously the Coastal Cabana. Just do thanks, because that was a super popular color as well. And most of the refills sold out, which is good, because that way at least people have refills, because I think that's the hardest part sometimes when you have, I'm just kind of centering this in here, when you have the ink or the ink pad and you don't have the refill, and then it dries out, and then it's like $570 million on eBay. So, you know, better to be buying it now for $375, right? So I'm going to put some dimensionals onto the back of this. I'm just going to put 3. And then we're going to put this whole thing together. So I am going to grab, of course, I have still, whoopsie, I still have some fast fuse left. I'm sure I'm not the only person that has fast fuse left, because once I figured out how to use it, it was like my favorite thing ever. I did kind of make this so it was centered. Oh, I didn't stamp these out far enough. Son of a gun. That's okay. I'm going to make it so they're kind of centered over the flourish. So on this one, they definitely stuck out a little bit farther. So mine, not quite as far, but since it's already stamped, we're going to leave it that way. I do have my sentiment here, and I'm going to put this on top, and then all we have to do is add our inside panel. Oh, you know what? I do the same thing. I have done that also, Donna, with my stamps. So I'm just going to put this down here in the center. Which again, I mean, this is a really easy card. You could do this with most any DSP, which is the good part. I was keeping my rubber in my stamps. The only reason I stopped doing it is because I noticed when I had the cling stamps that sometimes I would have a hard time getting them to not stick to the cling. So once I had the cling stamps, then I stopped doing it. But I still have that in for all of my other stamps as well. So there you go. You have your little peek through piece over here. Really simple card. If you stamp these a little bit better, you would actually be able to see more of it, unlike this little tiny flourish that I have here. But still, very simple card. Use a nice strip of DSP. And then this DSP actually is really, this is the mosaic. And it already has a nice high gloss finish to parts of it, which I think makes it really cool. It looks embossed. So this one was very simple to make. You could do this with, again, most any DSP. Really easy. I'm going to show you guys too real quick what I did. I made a whole bunch of these for thank you cards, and I used the Share What You Love DSP. So I just put a strip. Same thing again. I really like this punch. I punched out friend, or I think some of them I might have done thanks. And then I just changed the color of the paper. So if you have a lot of paper, you can even use the other side that you don't really know what to do with, or maybe it's like maybe it's even one piece of the DSP pack that you're kind of like, you're just not crazy about. You can make a whole ton of thank you cards with it. So these are just, I'm 90% sure, these are just 2-inch strips. Yes, so they're 2 inch by 5 1/4. And then again, some of them I layered one way or the other way, because one of them is just the other side of the paper. And then just switched up the color of the cardstock. But it's a great way if you have like a bunch of thank yous that you needed to make, or, you know, whatever the case may be. All right, so this next card is also fairly simple. I mean, quite honestly, it's not really very complicated. The only thing that's different is there's a little bit of coloring involved, but otherwise very, very easy. Let me just put this in here. So here's that one, which we have. And then the other one, really, if you do a whole bunch of these, which you could do the same thing again, it would make it really simple. Have a lot of DSP, never. Yeah, right. Please. One of these days, all of us people who, me and everyone who lives in Ohio, we're all going to meet. And we're going to have a come to Jesus moment about our DSP and the fact that we need to use it. All right, so for this one, we're going to use, it starts with art. Same thing again. A couple of ladies in my Stamp Club on Friday decided that they wanted to use this side, which was super fun with this as well. So you could use this side. So as a matter of fact, I'm going to do the second one with this paper because it kind of does look like paint streaks. So we'll flip it over. And only thing you have to be careful with is you want to make sure that when you stamp this, you put your papers on the correct direction because somebody put it the other way. So I told him, I said, just turn it over and it'll be a left-hander's card. So it still worked. It was just the opposite. But what we're going to do is, I have a regular piece. This is, is this Coastal Cabana? Yes, Coastal Cabana again, because I love Coastal Cabana. So this is a regular card piece. So this is 8.5 by 5.5, score at 4 1/4. And then we have a piece. Where's my ruler? I keep taking it away. I believe this is 4 inches. Yeah, so 4 inches by 4 1/4. Wow, I remember that one. And then you're going to score it at 2. And then you'll need 2 pieces of Whisper White, and these are going to be 1 3/4, I believe, by 4. Yeah, it was a little bit. I did 1 7/8. So 1 7/8 by 4 1/4. So you'll need 2 pieces of that. And then I also have to score this one other panel because we do have a piece of DSP here. This measures 2 inches, should be by 5 1/4, 5 3/8. And then we just have a piece for the back side. This is 4 by 5 1/4. So I will put all the measurements on the blog once I'm finished with this. I promise. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and stamp first before we assemble. That way that will give this some time to dry. Another cool thing about this is let's stay up late and craft. How fun is that? I'm going to use that sentiment instead. And again, we will send this card out to someone as a thank you. Let's see. We also have You Paint My World with Happiness, which I thought was really cute. So someone else, I'm going to kind of do a couple things that they did instead of doing my version, which had these spools here. Someone else did these kind of stamped into the side. So we'll do that one. And I am going to use Memento ink. Now you could use the Stampin' Blends with this. You could use the I also use the blender pens with the inks. I added, obviously, you can see the sparkle, some Wink of Stella there. So just kind of, you can make it whatever it is you want to make it, but I'm going to change it up a little bit since they did that as well. I thought it was a really cute idea. So I want to stamp this coming up from the bottom, just like that. So there is my, my inside panel. And how about, let's see, on the top here, I'm still going to do... I'm going to do the ink bottle again because I did think that was really cute. It was pretty fun to be able to color that in. So I'll do the ink bottle, the refill. We'll put a couple of these on here though. Just like that. Also, if you notice, I am stamping onto this Stampin' Pierce mat. It does wipe off so you can clean it so you don't have to worry about it. Or if you wanted to, you could always wrap it ahead of time with something. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and add the buttons. And then we have like some little gems. So I'm going to add these just in a couple different colors. I'll do a few in Calypso Coral. And then a few in Coastal Cabana. So there's one. And then the other thing I did was I used the larger buttons. Ooh, we could even do the paper clip. We'll do that. Okay, we'll do that in Coastal Cabana. It is a lot of DSP, but here's the other thing. I have a goal this year, instead of like hoarding my DSP, that I'm going to actually use it. So that is a feat in itself for me because I tend to be one of the people that I have all this DSP, and then if somebody's always like, oh, I ran out of it, I have it, but what the heck is the point of buying it, Rachel, if you don't use it? You know, I talk to myself a lot too, so that's just part of the fun of coming here, right? All right, so since I did this, I'm going to do my Let's Stay Up and Craft. I'm going to put that up here. And let's see, what other color is a good one in here? I'm going to do it in Balmy Blue, just for the heck of it. Okay, so we'll do that here. Perfect. And worst case scenario, again, why I didn't attach this was, if for some reason I were to have stamped something goofy, we can always flip it over again. I know it's got a little bit of stuff on there, but it's not that big of a deal. All right, so I'm going to let this just dry just for a moment. We're going to probably use most of these colors. We can add in a couple other colors. I did forget one little part to score on this. So we'll put all this stuff together. Move these out of the way. So I do want to score this. So if this is a half, okay, so you have this would be 4 1/4. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to score it at 2 1/8. Okay, which is the not the tiny hash mark, but the next one over. So 2 1/8. And I have to tell you, we did a project here this weekend for the Rainbow Stamper. We ended up adding a jungle gym onto our, I shouldn't say a jungle gym. We added a, oh my goodness, monkey bars onto the jungle gym. And let me tell you what, crafting has really improved my mathematical skills. For me, measuring things, my grandfather would be so proud of me. I was measuring stuff down to the 16ths. It was extremely impressive. I was impressed with myself. So I'm going to fold this in. And I think I scored that the wrong way. Yep, because my paper frayed. I should have scored it on the inside. I'm going to go ahead and put this down. Again, same thing here. If you had like a lot of projects that you were doing, you could certainly cut out the middle piece of this since you're going to be covering with a piece of paper, but do that. I'm going to put this one still. You could also flip to this side if you wanted to. Just depends, but I'm going to keep the paintbrushes there because I think it's really cute. And I used to be amazing at math when I was in high school. I'm not quite sure what happened, but for a while there, I just kind of stopped mathing. But man, this crafting has really improved my math game. I am wonderful at math now. So what I'm going to do is, you could certainly leave this blank. That way you could put something there. So I'm going to put this one on the inside. That way I can say like, love ya, or whatever it is I'm going to say to you, like, let's stay up and craft, no bra required, you bring the alcohol, I'll bring the mixers, or whatever the case may be. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use these colors, and then I'm going to add in something else. I'm going to add in Granny Apple Green, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to use my blender pens to color these in. I'm going to bring this mat up just so you guys can see it a little bit better. But what you're going to do is you'll just take your blender pen. You could use your Stampin' Right marker, but if you do your blender pen, it kind of lends you to be able to do things in more than one hue. So you could do like a lighter Granny Apple Green and then a darker. So we'll do a medium here on this bottle. Okay, I'm not being super careful when I'm coloring this, which I probably would be more careful, but... And then if it's still a little too dark, you can always wipe off your blender pen, and then you could go into the lighter area of the ink. So you're going to go in the spot where there's not a whole lot of ink. We can put this up here. So it's like a lighter shade of the same color. So super easy. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the really dark ink and I'm going to fill in that dark spot on the label there. In this little rim. So there you can see 3 different hues, all just with the blender pen, depending on how intense you want your ink to look. So that's super easy. Again, I just usually wipe it off to clean it. You want to keep turning it around until it comes out clean. And I'm going to add just a little bit, again, of light down here where this little label would be. All right, so there's that one. So you can use the same one for multiples. So now I will do the same with Balmy Blue. If for some reason, if you've never done this before, with the old pads, you could squeeze pretty easily into the center and get a nice puddle. With the new pad, you have to do the opposite. So you keep it closed, but you push from the bottom, and then it'll make a nice concentrated ink pile there in the center. If you have arthritis and you can't do that, you could also just take your re-inker and just drop a drop of ink in there. So lots of ways to do it, no matter what is easier or more difficult for you. So I'm going to take a little bit of this. You could always add a little water too if you wanted to dilute it. And I'm going to just do the cap. So again, I have the cap kind of light. And while I have the light, I'm going to just do the little label part down here. Now I'm going to grab some darker ink from the center and fill in the bottle portion and that little darker label. And then I'm going to kind of squiggle it out a little bit here on my lid, because I kind of want a medium color, and I just want to test this and see what that looks like. That's a pretty good medium color. And then I'm going to just fill in the rest. So it's like a little bit darker. You can always too, you can add a little bit of shading if you want to. With different markers, you could do this with your colored pencils instead is another good idea. I'll block on the ink pad. That's another great idea, Fran. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah, you could take your ink pad. So same thing, you could do this. And you could just dip your ink pad into it like that. And then you could just get the color out of it that way. So you could just do this. We'll see how light that is. That's pretty light. And then when I want darker, I'll go with the other one. I'm going to add this to the lid. And then I'm going to go in here and get a little bit darker for the rest of this. Oops, kind of went outside the line there. Whoopsie. Where's my scribble paper? The only thing I will say is with these, I do have a lot of these because I really, really like, I think I went a little bit dark with that. I really like using these blender pens, especially if you have like classes and you need to have a bunch of them. But the only other reason I would say to buy more than one pack is if you do this with black, you need to have a pen that has a black tip. And if you do it with the craft white ink, you need to have one that has a craft white tip, because you're pretty much it is really, really hard to get the craft white ink out of it. So I do have one that is designated to white and one that's designated to black as well. So I'm going to just pick up a teeny bit of Coastal Cabana, and I'm just going to lightly shade in the clips, just so they're not so stark white. I'm not doing the clip part yet. I'm just doing the actual clips. What we'll do with the clip part is we'll fill those in with a little bit of gray. Let me get one more down here. Okay, so there's that. I still have to do my pencils, but what I'm going to do those with is, I'm going to do those with the Stampin' Blends just to show you. So I have a little bit of smoky slate, so I'm going to try to be really careful because I've had a lot of coffee this morning, and I'm going to do the smoky slate as the clip part. So I'm kind of just filling in just that little bit there with the clip part. Do it up here. Also, I'm inadvertently, because again, the coffee has taken over, giving it a little bit of shading accidentally. All right, so one other thing. Summer is coming. I'm sure you all know. Last year, I had my niece assisting me at times. I'm going to just wipe this off just a little. Put a little bit of this in here. This is just because their stark whiteness inside is bothering me. So I'm just putting just a little bit of the residual from that smoky slate into the center of these sequins. Or faceted sequins, whatever they may be. So my niece will be with me. So we can either do what we did last year, which was sometimes she helped me, or we can switch to a different day. So what I'm going to do is, when I'm finished, I'm going to put up a poll and we'll kind of decide what we want to do. So I'm going to use Pool Party. I know, which isn't really one of the colors we picked. Pool Party. I'm going to do Soft Seafoam and Calypso Coral for these 3 markers. And then I'm going to just use the light Smoky Slate. So I'm going to go ahead and color these in. So we can kind of, again, we can craft with her. She will be here. We can do it occasionally. They're only here on Wednesdays. That's the day that I watch them in the summer, which is really fun for me because, as you know, eventually all children seem to be that they don't want to hang out with you anymore, no matter how cool you think you are. So I'm kind of hoping that with this time with them, I'll be able to, for them to still love me a little bit longer. All right, so I'm going to just do that. Let me put a little bit here. And I might add a little bit of the dark Smoky Slate. I haven't decided yet. So I'm going to start with light coral. And I'm going to add just a teeny bit of dark. I mean, it's not much. It's just basically like shading the tip there. And I'm going to do the... Is this mint macaron? Yeah, I'm saying it was the wrong thing. Mint macaron is what I picked. So that's dark, and then I'm going to go with light. And I'm going to just add that on this little spot right here. And then we'll do blue. One thing that I do love about, same with my niece and also with my son when they craft, and my other niece was a little jealous because she was like, well, how come I didn't get to make a card? But it's kind of funny because you get to see different ideas through their eyes. So if we decide against it, we may have just some feature moments where we'll do some stuff with them. So I'm just adding a little bit of dark. And this is way more than I did on my other card, but just to give you an idea of what you can do. And then I'm going to go back in with the light and blend. And I'm going to also tell you one other thing. I know a lot of people, oops, I colored over the wrong thing there. A lot of people have bought the color lifter, but I really don't use mine very often. I think if you color with them, kind of going light to dark, you don't really seem to need it very much. I guess you always could, like, erase a little color if you wanted a highlight spot. Maybe I'm just not good at highlighting yet, and that's why I haven't used it, and I should be using it, but I don't know. I haven't used it very much. So this is the color lifter, which is kind of like a magic eraser, sort of. All right, so we will put this here. And I know Donna and I had talked before how not a lot of people these days send cards or make cards or do any of that kind of stuff. So that is why I do try to keep my nieces and my son involved in making stuff, because you know what happens when people stop doing stuff? Suddenly it disappears. It's kind of like cursive, which I think some people, I've read before that people are like, if we start writing in cursive, no one will understand this, which is true. But my niece, so the 8-year-old niece, loves writing in cursive. Like when she learned to write in cursive, she got to take a special test in school. And she was so excited because she got her special certificate to say that she could write in cursive, which definitely is a dying art. So I put those 2 pieces in, and then all we're going to do is we're going to put this like that. And then the other thing I forgot is you can also add some of these really cute embellishments. There's this little kit that comes with it. There's hearts and paper clips, and there's all these different shapes of felt. So that's really fun. But one thing I want to say is when you put this one in, you want to make sure I put this in with Tombow liquid glue. That way, in case you mess it up a little bit, you have a little bit of space to move it around. So I'm going to do it like this. So I'm going to kind of close it, decide where I think I might want it, center-wise. That way, because if you put it with the tape, it's kind of hard to readjust it. And then press it down. Make sure you press it down really well. And then, because you can't end a card without some Wink of Stella, I'm going to just put a little bit of Wink of Stella on the ink refills. Just like that. There we go. And I'm going to put a little bit on the paper clips here. You could probably put these on the gray pieces if you wanted them to look more sparkly, but I think it all needs a little sparkle. There we go. So, pretty simple card. And this does stand up, so very easy. Again, you can add lots of different embellishments if you want. The kit, I want to show you what it comes with. Comes with a lot of really, I just punched them all out. They come on sheets, so you get 4 different sheets. But you get big hearts, and so it's like Calypso Coral, Pool Party. Oh, I don't know what color that pink is. Probably, I'm going to say Petal Pink. Yeah, I think it's Petal Pink. And then I'm going to go with Crushed Curry for that. But you have all different shapes. There's like little lines. You can add this. I will say I added these with the mini glue dots and they don't stick very well. So I would definitely use the liquid glue for these. And then you also get 2 rolls of baker's twine. And then these are the other little guys that you get. I have to show you these. You can put these on. You could do paper clips, or you could paper clip one of these. I don't even know if you can see that. It says made with love. So then you could put this onto your card. Just like that. Oh, sweet Jesus. There we go. And if you would want to do this way, but you could clip it. Hold on. I had a thought and then I needed to change it because I did it goofy. You could clip this on here if you wanted to. Make sure this is facing the correct direction. That's going to stick up a little bit and it's going to annoy me. So that's probably not the way. You're probably supposed to put that on with this. And then you could take this part off, or you could like paper clip like a little love note in here. Like, you're the best crafter in all of the universe, Rachel. How do you come up with all these card ideas? Because people send them to me. That's how. There you go. Super cute. You could add this to the front and a little note. Don't forget to put your dirty socks in the laundry, not on the floor. You know, you get where I'm going with this, right? So anyway, super fun cards, very simple, and all of that stuff comes in this little cute box, so adorable. But this is all, you can get this all as like a mega super sweet bundle. So again, this one was from the It Starts With Art, which is this. This is my favorite. I love this stamp set, but when I saw Let's Stay Up Late and Craft, yeah, that's my total MO there. And then the other one we made was with the Good Morning Magnolia. Let me move this out of the way. And then we made these 2. Just make sure if you do center these, that you put them a little closer to the edge so you can actually see your flourishes versus what I did for my backwards blonde version of this card. So, thank you guys. You saw a great idea on Pinterest. Label your blenders with the diamond. Oh, that's a good idea. That's a good idea for the dark and the light. That's perfect. I like that. The trinkets on the clip. Yeah. You know, the other trinkets we have are those little, these are cute too. So if you still have any of these, hold on, where are they? Any of these? These are the gold binder clips. They're really fun. You could dress those up. See, this is my problem, is that I have a lot of these embellishments. Look at these. These are the mini birthday binder clips. Still haven't used them. I have these from Christmas, the Stitch felt embellishments, which is why when I got this little box of stuff, I made myself poke them all out and I threw away the other things. That way, if they were loose, there was more likely I would use them. But you have the binder clips, and I know these are also good if you have like projects, you can hold them, you know, hold stuff closed with them, which is adorable. So instead of putting like a, I think I have one here that's the same. Oh, here we go. You'll recognize this one from a while ago. But like this way, you could close it with this, like if you're making a little project. So instead of stitching it closed, you could just put your binder clip on there and like add your, this sentiment has been a little bit loved up, so it's kind of fallen all over the place. But this is really, these are really good, which I don't think these are in the, these might be in the clearance rack still, but there's lots of other cool stuff in there as well. Lots of new fun embellishments coming. Oh my goodness. I could also trim down that paper, Gail, but you know, I was being blonde and lazy, so that's where it ended up. So now you see how stamping is in my world. No, definitely not conducive for sending in the mail. But you know, I don't mail a lot of cards. I give out more cards in person than mailing. So with the paper clipping, I totally feel you on that one, Karen. That completely makes sense. So if you haven't already, I'm just talking. Make sure you leave a comment and I will draw a name. And I do have some card kits left over. I have one of each, so we'll pick somebody and send them out. And then maybe sometime soon I can do a video for this. This is one that I cased out in the new catalog. If you do not have a demonstrator, I'd be happy to be yours. I'd be thrilled to be yours. And you need a catalog. All you have to do is send me an email, rachthestamper@gmail.com. I do need your full address, including your zip code, to be able to send it to you. If you do already have a demonstrator, I kindly ask that you get it from them because I do have to mail them out and they're getting a little more expensive. But I will put all the measurements for both of these cards onto the blog sometime later today. I will put a poll up if we're going to decide to change the day of the summer stamping. And I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful day. It's beautiful and sunny here. Hopefully it'll stay that way. I know there's a lot of stuff going on in the Midwest with all those tornadoes. My heart is with all of you. I can't even imagine living in a tornado zone. But know that I'm thinking of you all the time. I hope you all have a wonderful week, and I will see you real soon.